every night. I close it when I go to bed, and by morning, it's open. I think this started 2 weeks ago. Now, I live in a small, one-bedroom apartment. It's perfect for me. The window is in my bedroom. It's one of those sliding windows that opens to the side. It runs the length of the short side of my rectangular room, and the view outside is of a not too busy street. I keep a floor lamp next to it, but I draw the blinds back to clean on the weekends. It really brings life into the room. Now, the first time anything happened, I didn't even notice at first. It takes me a bit to get out of bed in the mornings. You see, I sleep under a heavy quilt that I got from my mom. It transforms my bed into a little cocoon of comfiness. So most mornings, including that one, I have to fight to break out of this bundle of warmth. When I finally rolled out of bed, I started my routine. Now, maybe it's strange, but I like to pace when I brush my teeth. Normally, I start brushing and I pace over to the window to open it, but that morning, it was already opened. Now, not by much, but it had been slid open about an inch. It didn't really occur to me how strange it was at first. I just went about getting ready, putting on my clothes, and brushing my hair. And then the thought rang. I did not leave it open last night. I double-check that the door is locked and that my windows are shut every night. Then how could it have happened? I mean, I swore it was locked, but I guess the locks on the window were really hard to get into place. They're the little lever kind that comes pre-installed on most windows, and I was pretty lazy with them since they were hard to get just right. I made a mental note to make sure to really lock them down that night, and I was happy with this. It's not like anyone could have gotten through such a small crack. Though, someone might accidentally leave it like that if they were leaving through the window. No, that was silly. But still, I wanted to make sure, and I checked my apartment for its valuables. As far as I could tell, everything was still there. And on the commute to work, I wondered, should I have checked the closets? No. I mean, that would have been ridiculous, right? I went back to the window and I shut it. Now, I made sure to get the locks tight this time. No half-assing it anymore. When I got home from work, I undressed and I unwound. I decided to order a pizza that night to treat myself for a good day's work. It was upon opening the curtain to check if the delivery had arrived when I remembered about the morning's events. I checked the locks were still in place and it hadn't moved, so good. That's the end of that. The pizza arrived and I ate and I relaxed. When bedtime came, I climbed under my quilt and warmly fell to sleep. But the next morning, it was the same. And so it was the next morning and the morning after that. Every day I called my landlord and she became increasingly short with me, but my window was opening and frankly that's a matter of my personal safety. So, yes, I know. I don't live on the first floor, but ladders exist, do they not? On the fourth day, I wake up and I see the window open again, but this time it's open halfway. I felt sweat drip down my forehead. A nervous tingle ran down my body. I mean, windows don't just open. I called the landlord again and I reported what happened. She said she would see what she could do about it. Now, but what she could do was she could give me a better lock or look at the cameras and tell me what was going on, but of course she didn't. By fortune's chance, it was my day off, so I went to the hardware store and I picked up some supplies to make sure that the window would stay shut. A 2x4 ought to block the window from sliding open. But what if they broke the window? I mean, yeah, sure, I would hear it, but what would I do? I don't have any weapons. I had to get something. Grabbing the first sufficient tool I found, an axe, settled my fears. Was this an overreaction? Perhaps my window was just broken. But how does a broken window open itself? That's impossible. Placing the wood in the sill, I was satisfied that the window would be entirely unopenable by anybody but me. I would be safe that night. But what if I wasn't? What if they were able to force their way in? Well, of course, then I would have my axe. No, but that would be impossible in the first place. They would have to snap the wood in half. It could fall out. They could knock on the glass until the wood fell off. I mean, sure, it's not likely, but what if it was possible? Food. I needed to eat and relax and calm the hell down. I opened the fridge. Leftover pizza, bacon, eggs. Oh, it's perfect. Eggs, bacon, and an axe. Oh my god. Why did I buy an axe? That was absurd. I put it in my duffel bag and I marched downstairs and I placed it in my storage unit. All of this had just gotten ridiculous. I wanted to make dinner and relax. I don't want to be caught up on my window. But it's not just the window, I reminded myself. It's the possibilities that it entails. I have to be safe. Okay, maybe not too safe. But is there such a thing as too careful? Ah, shit. I had left the stove on and oil burned in the pan. I washed it out and I ate leftover pizza. I thought about calling Mom and asking her what she thought, but did I really want to admit that I was nervous to sleep in my own bed that night? I lied under my quilt for some time, staring at the ceiling. I felt a bead of sweat drip down the side of my face. Deciding that all of this was rather silly, I put the entire matter behind me with the help of a beer, and I fell the hell to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night to a loud thump. Oh my god, I knew I should have been more careful. Slowly, my eyes adjusted to the dim light coming through the window. I didn't see anybody. I slowly moved to investigate, careful not to make a sound. I creeped around the corner of my bedroom door, and I stopped at the entryway to my living area. My heart was in my throat. What if they were here to kill me? What if it was a trap? What if they were already aiming a gun at me around the corner? I felt my soul shrink as I asked myself, was I ready to die? But I had to see who was there. With a great push and a leap, I landed at the threshold of the living room and... no one. Just a room. As a sigh left my body, the tension in my muscles gave way and I sank to the floor. I put my hands to my face and I felt something. Whether it was the onset of weeping or vomit, I am not sure. The window. Why didn't I check the window? In my fright, I had completely forgotten it. I leaped up and I ran into my room. The damned window stood completely open. The floor lamp lay on the floor next to it. The lamp! It had saved my life! Without a moment of thought, I ran to the window and I stuck my head out of it. But damn it, there's no one! They must have made an escape through my apartment. So I ran to my front door and I threw it open. I looked down the hallway. Each direction stretched around a corner to a different exit. So, what way did they go? Left or right? Left or right? Left or right? Ugh! I ran left in a charge. I would not let them escape. I heard the elevator moving as I passed it, so I burst down the stairs. I nearly slipped as I darted down them, but the elevator was already near the bottom floor despite my hurry. So, in the dash of a moment, I pulled the fire alarm. With a cold water spreading over my face and a horrible siren in my ears, I had stopped the elevator in its tracks. Slamming the door well open, I entered the hall with the elevator. Water ran down my face and stung my eyes, but I had no choice. I would not let them hurt me first. I dashed to the elevator and I blindly grabbed the collar of the intruder. I felt a hand pull me away from the figure. My bursts of protests and clawing towards them did little to stop the force. As the water pulled away from my eyes, I finally saw them. I saw that which dragged me out of bed and began this horrible nightmare. It was one of my neighbors who worked at the factory. No, I should have chosen right! The incident had to be reported to the police. So I told them all of it. I told them someone had come into my house and tried to kill me. Someone had been messing with my window, trying to break in. They didn't believe me. Now, luckily, my neighbor didn't press charges. But I heard the cops talk to him. They think I did it. They think I'm making all of this up. I'm not making this up. I am in danger. That day, I spent making sure no one would get into my window. I called into work, so I had plenty of time. I screwed the 2x4 between the sash and the frame. I still made sure the window was locked too. There is no way that window could open except by breaking the damn thing down. I wasn't going to sleep that night. I was going to wait for them. I stuffed my quilt with pillows to make it seem like I was inside of it. I would hide beside the bed, out of sight from the window, and with my axe in hand all night, crouched and ready to spring. Ugh! The inside of my skull itches. At the peak of my cranium, my skull crawls, and I cannot scratch it. I will end all of this. 11. I turned off the lights in my apartment and I crouched beside the bed. My heart beats fast. Midnight. My body aches for sleep. I bite my lip. 1. I will not be caught. 2. Maggots in my stomach, writhing. 3. They're here. They're looking at me. Don't move. Don't breathe. Don't blink. Open the window. Come on. Come inside. Enough! I go to them slowly, raising my head above the bed slowly. I can't let them see me move. I see it! It looks like a human, but it's not. The skin is a dead gray. It has no hair, no teeth, and no eyes, but it stares. It has no eyes, but it's staring at me. And it smiled. And it laughed. What do you fucking want with me? I leapt with my axe, and I smashed the window right at its rotted smile. As I approached, the face had retreated, so my swing hit nothing, and I went out and down the window. I screamed as my weight hurtled me with it, and down below. A warmth surrounded me in a buzzing glow. I did not feel the axe sink into my chest as I hit the ground, nor did I notice my skull cracking on the hard concrete. But I didn't care. The damned window would never open again! I woke up in the hospital, the aching pains of that night still shaking me. I refused to go back to my apartment, and so my mom let me stay with her until I figured out what to do next. I was released after a few weeks with a sewn-up stomach and a plate in my head. It's better than dead, I guess. My mom keeps a quilt in her guest room. It's thick and heavy, just the way I like it. And with the peace a mother's presence brings, I found myself quickly asleep. Mom woke me up. She heard noise and wanted to check on me. When I woke up, I was standing with my hand on the window. The cool breeze chilled the sweat dripping on my body. As I looked into the window, I saw the same head looking at me from all those nights ago. My own image, reflected by darkness.